everyone, welcome to 4 Top 3s. I'm V. I originally come from Britain and I now live in Iceland. And our current Icelander is...
Eyþór.
And our current representative from Germany is...
Cassie.
Yo! Our normal representative from America is...
I'm not, representing is kind of...
I want to do
a
that.
strong way to put what I'm doing.
What is your name, my friend?
From America, in the United States of them.
Okay.
You have to excuse him. He grew up in a postage bag of a postman. He has no name.
That would be Neil, who is fucking with the intro. I'm trying to be professional here, folks. I'm trying. But because this is episode 5, we thought we would break the mold a bit, and we have a guest. So do you want to introduce yourself?
Maybe? No, I don't know. Hi, I'm Tien. And
Hi, Tien.
And I am technically also from America. Like United States of
Representing,
America.
aren't we?
Yeah.
No. Neil is our token American.
Yes, okay. And I'm particularly here to also represent the Asian culture of China and Cambodia, although I don't know very much about Cambodian culture.
Well, everyone here has a slightly odd experience living in the countries of origin or otherwise. So, we're all good. We're all here to learn stuff that we didn't know about each other, have an excuse to hang out, and just, learn shit.
We're basically
and laugh,
character.
mostly laugh.
Yeah, we're basically a character building. We're doing those 100 questions for your character.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and learning what to buy each other for gifts. That's kind of also become quite important in our conversations.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
We
So
fangirled
since
all over
Tien,
Tien last week. That's why we have her here now
we
today.
did. Since you are our guest, Tien, for episode 5, you set the topic for this episode, didn't you?
I did. I wanted to talk about our favorite mythological creatures.
Okay, so we're doing top 3 mythological creatures. That is the thing for this episode.
5 top 3.
Let's.
Oh.
No. Oh god. 5 top 3. Oh god, this is going to get terrible. Let's start with Eyþór.
What? Me?
Yeah,
Okay, sure. My top...
alphabetical.
my third favorite mythological creature. I don't even know why this one is on my list. It just doesn't leave my brain, and that's why I'm just like, fuck it. I
lives
guess
there
you're on the list.
rent-free.
It lives absolutely rent-free. It is an old story from Iceland that just sits in my head. And the story goes that there's a farmer, and he has a little farm, and he does the farming stuff. But one day, there's like a little gremlin in his. There's a little imp in his farmhouse, and he's like, "Get out of here, you fucking imp!" And he's cursing at the imp, and the imp's like, "Ha ha ha!" And then he goes away, and then he comes back, and the imp has hidden all his tools, and he's like, "Oh, this motherfucking imp!" And the imp's like, "Ha ha ha!" It's a dumb story, but as the story goes, he goes to the priest, and he's like, "I've got a fucking imp in my house. What the fuck do I do?" And the priest is like, "Well, I'm not surprised you have an imp. You curse so much. You're feeding the imp with your curses." And he's like, "What? That doesn't make any goddamn sense." And the priest's like, "Well." This guy's like, "Shit, I think you got a point." So he goes back to his farmhouse, and he doesn't curse for a day, and the imp seems kind of agitated. It isn't as fun. So he starts ramping up his stuff. He starts breaking the tools. And the ending of the story is so weird because by the end of the story, the imp is malnourished. He's just skin and bones. He's so weak. And the farmer wakes up one day and he's like, "Haha, I'm sure the imp will be gone by now." And he walks into his farmstead and all his cows are dead. And all his animals are dead, and all his tools are broken, and the imp's just lying there, just almost dead. And he's just like, "You piece of shit! How dare you do this to me, you motherfucking piece!" And he just curses up a storm, feeds the imp, and the imp gets fat and wobbly. And he's like, "Ha ha ha!" And he walks away, and that's the end of the story.
That's the trolls.
So my number 3 mythological creature is the curse imp.
Scripture.
The curse It's basically any troll on the internet these days.
I wonder if
Of your reaction.
is there a headquarters for like the cursed imps because that thing is
Twitter.
fat.
No,
Any social media platform, actually.
really.
Mhm.
No, it's basically just imps. Like, I have no idea why this one lives in my head so much, but the story sits in my brain. There's a bunch of these weirdo stories from my childhood which just stuck in my brain. I will always remember them. So yeah, that's why this guy gets number 3.
Okay.
Well, that's irritating because my number 3 spot are fairy sprites and imps. For a kind of similar thing is that, you know, you have like the little fairies of good fortune that live at the bottom of your garden and they look after the plants and they're all like cute and nice and stuff and they do good things. And then you have like the house imps, which will just fuck with your shit. Like, you lose your keys, the imp has done it. It's that kind of like little mischievousness in imps that are just like the counterpoint to fairies that live happily in the garden.
Very
My mum was very
low-level
obsessed with
wickedness.
fairies.
The
Mischievous.
mischievous.
They won't break your tools or kill your cows
They're not
like they do in
evil.
Iceland. Yeah.
They don't hate you.
That was a cursed imp and he was starving it. It had no choice.
I just think the idea of having like tiny little spirits that you may or may not be able to see, just like either helping you out, like basically, you know, agents of luck and chaos just around you doing these tiny little things which may help you out. Like, oh, I lost my keys. Where the fuck are they? Blame the imps. You go outside, they're in the garden. Underneath your keys in the garden, there's like a pot of gold. Like, fuck yeah. Like, just that kind of just little strange little forces in your life. I like ascribing them to little fairies and
I
imps.
would like.
That's
I
actually my
would
third point.
personally like the odds of that. So if I could lose my keys and find it on a pot of gold in my backyard, that's worth it to me.
I would lose my keys every day for the rest of my life.
I'd rather want the I don't remember the name of the elves that like were making shoes for the cobbler every time he fell asleep. I don't remember that story completely, but I remember that dumb story. Like, it was a cobbler, he fell asleep, and when he woke up, he had the best pairs of shoes. And he's just like, I'm the greatest. I made the best pairs of shoes in my sleep.
In my sleep.
And I think the ending of the story is something super dumb. Like he finds the elves and he's like, hey, what do you guys want to make the best shoes in the world for the king? And the elves are like, I don't know, warm water or something? It's something super dumb. It's not like his firstborn or something. I might be misremembering.
Yeah, it's not Rumpelstiltskin. I know the story you're talking about as well, but I don't remember my fairy tales very well. Like, I read them like once or twice as a kid, and that was kind of it. So,
But yeah,
but I do know what you're talking about.
if I got to choose my elves or sprites, it wouldn't be golden pots underneath my keys. It would be the ones that do my job for me while I sleep.
How would that work, though?
They just do the electricity for me. I just fall asleep, and then they like all the cables have been laid and all the machines have been connected.
Oh my
Yes.
god, they would fix my building. The ceiling would stay up, the walls would stay holding
See?
shit, and the ground would stay down.
I want a little editing one. You like wake up in the middle of the night and your computer's on and you hear little clicks and you look
Oh,
over and he's like holding a
Depending
headphone
on how
up
big
and
they
like,
are,
click, click, click.
you need like 3 of them just to shove the mouse around, and then like one sit on the left mouse button and one on the right mouse button, and then together they
Like,
have
so
to
one
use
of them
the
is sitting on top of the mouse, like riding it like a skateboard, just being pushed around by the other imps.
I don't know. If I woke up to something like that, I'd probably be terrified because my brain is making the image of like gremlins from the movie Gremlins. I don't know. If,
Don't feed them. Don't feed them.
yeah, like
Good night.
I look
Stop
over
gassing
and
at
that
them.
thing looks back at me, and I would probably either cry or just go back to sleep and say fuck this.
I think if anything, like I have had like some strange, unexplainable shit happen in my life, and I just tried to pretend it didn't exist. I just tried to move on with the hour. I'm like, okay, that didn't happen. Just moving on. Repress that. Don't need to deal with that today.
That reminds me of a video that Aether once sent us, like to the group chat, where like I remember you were building something in Reykjavik, and like one of the buildings suddenly started, like one of the bulbs suddenly started to go off, and you were like, I'm just going to ignore this and close the door.
As long as they don't look like
I remember
spiders,
that.
I'll befriend them.
Yeah, fuck spiders.
I
fuck
love
that.
spiders.
Just fuck no.
If they can look as scary as they want, but as long as they don't look like spiders.
Then your fairy friends can do like 8 things at once. It's way better.
I am legit so scared of ghost anything. Like, I have to say the word G-host at night, like terrified. It's so scared.
Oh yeah,
But I
remember.
I write horror stories.
Yes,
I sent you a
about to
photo of a
comment.
bunny that, like, in the dark, like with the eyes glowing, and I remember, like, after I sent you that photo, suddenly I got a message back and was like, "Hi, I'm
Gary.
T," and just threw her phone at me.
So scared.
That's fair. Some of those night vision shots you get of those bunnies are just terrifying looking. They're just like, what the fuck is this, Cassie? What hell's spawn are you raising? All right, Cassie, what is your number 3 spot for mystical creature?
So my number 3 spot are the satyrs or fawns. Or fauns? I don't know how the second one is.
I think it's fawn.
Yeah. I always get them confused with the deer creatures, but yeah. Anyway, satyrs or fawns, because I really like the aesthetic of them, with the like half human and half animal at the bottom thingy, but they also have like little horns and stuff.
Centaur.
Yeah,
Right,
centaurs
kind of.
not so much, because I don't know,
Well-
the anatomy just seems really weird on them. Fucks me up. I mean, I do. Don't get me wrong. I do like centaurs, but like not the typical centaurs. Like I like, I don't know, lion centaurs, for example. I like those, but not so much the typical
Horse
humans
one.
at the top and horse at the bottom. Like, I don't know. For some reason, I don't like them. But yeah, I don't.
Lion
I don't
centaurs are
remember
called
one of the-
sphinxes.
There was I read that there's a distinction between satyrs and fawns, that one of them was always horny and the other one wasn't, and I don't remember which one is which.
Satyrs are the horny ones.
Satyrs?
Mm-hmm.
Satyrs are horny.
But yeah, they're always walking around with hard-ons. No, what's it called? Boners? Same thing.
No, hard-ons and bonus. Same thing. Yes.
Dildos.
Oh, God.
Okay, not the dildos, but I don't like those so much, but I like the general aesthetic of fawns and satyrs, and like that there's just like those little half animal, half human critters, like celebrating, drinking wine in the forest, like dancing with the nymphs and that kind of thing. It's a really sweet lifestyle if they don't have boners all the time.
They just seem to be happy all the freaking
Yeah.
time. Like, we drink, we eat,
Party.
we have wine.
And they make
Life
music.
is great.
Are they trying
Yeah,
to like
hand food
represent fertility in nature or something?
Yes,
Is that like their
yes.
game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they were originally some religion's version of like, yeah, this is our fertility idea, like this half goat, half
Greek.
human. Yeah,
Greek.
Greek. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then that's probably where Beelzebub or Baphomet comes from, the idea of like kind of monsterizing the gods of other religions.
I was briefly thinking about that, because Krampus also has the same thing going on.
Oh, yeah,
with
Krampus.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I don't know if they're actually related. But it might be. I think I know where you're coming from, because the Greek mythology stuff was eventually not outlawed, but like rooted out by the Christians. So they were trying to make everything that was based on pagan beliefs like look evil. So
Yep.
it stands to reason that they eventually turned satyrs or like also the Krampus creatures into like this evil Baphomet.
Yeah.
Demon,
creature.
devil thingy.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
That
they
sounds so like something Christians would do.
And it sounds like the satyrs are like the representation of all sin and vices that Christians would be like, oh!
Yeah, that is true. But they're so cute. How can you just do that? They're adorable.
They don't represent fertility, they represent temptation.
But I mean, you don't need to dig very deep to find anything temptation based in Greek mythology. Why the fuck did they choose satyrs?
Because they had never-ending boners, and Christians are jelly. Christians are jelly as shit.
That's true.
All their priests forced into celibacy, and then there's this never-ending boner man just hanging out in the forest, and you're just like, I want to return to boner man. I'm stuck as a priest.
But everyone recognizes Boner Man as a party, so they see him and they're like, yeah, let's go. I want to have some fun too.
The priests just look at pictures of satyrs and are like, me too, man, me too. But yeah, apart from the boners, I really like them aesthetically.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the boners?
Apart.
Okay.
I mean,
getting
I like the
lightheaded
boners
just laughing.
aesthetically too, but that's a different story.
That's just
If we
like they're
can
separated. Let's
that's
separate
cool,
them. Yeah. All right, Neil. Let's hit us up with your third favorite mythical creature.
So, and I mean, this is obviously across many things, but I want to say mostly in Jewish mythology, there is golems, and
Yeah.
I like the idea of them, and I think they're very neat. They can be anything. What did it say? I'm trying to think now, and I should have the page open to be responsible.
Usually
And
made
we
out of
found the
soil.
page opening. We physically see this because Neil's entire back screen got flooded by a white page. Light.
Okay, from memory, whatever. So they basically are clay or any inanimate object, but mostly clay, that are brought to life and given a purpose and do something. I don't know a lot about them. But
Golems literally got pushed off my list by the imp because they
Yeah.
leave my brain.
yeah,
I love golems.
I think they're neat.
great.
they can be
Yeah,
scary. You can make
I just-
scary things with them. Holy shit, because they're kind of scary. It can also be kind of sweet, you know? There's so many like stories to tell with golems, I feel like, you know? I feel like they are representative of a lot and can do a lot. They're very malleable in like what they are representative of.
I love it when they're clay golems because I don't know why, but it sounds so down to earth. Like,
Yeah.
I love the idea of a clay golem because that's something that, like, I can imagine it can do a bunch of things, but it's also fragile. So it's like you'd never make an army of clay golems because people would just throw rocks at them; they'd fall apart.
It
But if a
hammers
clay
through the
golem kind
point of like, I built this for one purpose,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
done when it does that, and it's meaningless any other way. You know, it's the fragility of life in that sense.
I love it. I love clay golems. I don't know why. They were genuinely on my list before.
Pour water
Yeah.
on it and eventually it turns to mud.
Oh,
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
raining.
would you?
Whoever thought
I now imagine a small, like gnome-size clay golems with like an umbrella over it as we're trying to keep them alive.
Ah.
They're the
Or cover
best.
it top with, like, instead of just making it with clay, cover it with leaves.
For some reason, every time I think of a clay golem, I think of like just completely featureless, no head. It's just kind of like the shoulders just make this kind of oval shape.
Hmm.
I don't know why, but that's the idea of golems. That they're very smooth in my brain.
Yeah,
I always picture them with a head, though. I just think
our
that
gargoyle
they
is
are.
kind of like a golem in the show, I guess, huh? Because of the life part. When in reality, we know that we weren't trying to like make that happen. We were using them to ward off evil spirits or what the fuck ever.
Yeah, I think was it Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame. You have the
Yeah.
golems. No, the gargoyles up there,
Yeah,
and they're singing and dancing away. And I first saw them in like we have a lot of churches around where I am, but I don't see them very often. Even the cathedrals we went to visit, I just don't see them very often. So the first time I'd really seen them like attached to a place of worship was actually in Charmed, where the demons shouted at the witches. Sorry, where the gargoyles shouted at the witches. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, okay.
There was this
What?
awesome TV show for like a cartoon TV show for kids. Like when I was younger, I don't know, in my early teens or whatever. It's called Gargoyles, and it's so cool.
Gargoyles is one of those few. If you look
Gothic
up
Disney series.
Yeah.
if you
What
look
is
up
this?
the writer or director or something, I don't remember. He like when you look at his shit, you're like, oh, he made all the good stuff. Like there's like a through line between him and all the kind of like
Oh, yeah,
gothic cool shit.
I remember I watched the series like 2 years ago, and then like there's 3 seasons of it, and they said like at the 3rd season don't watch it because they
Just
changed
stop.
the writer. It's garbage.
Yeah.
All right, Tien, what's the third place? By the way, they don't have to be favorite order. It could be any order. We do that just to annoy Aethel.
Okay, so one of the creatures that I really enjoy is actually an evil creature. It's called Taotia, and it's a Chinese symbol of greed. So in Chinese mythology and creatures and things like that, we tend to have a tendency to make a chimera of things. So this creature, the Taotia, has like the body of a sheep, teeth of a tiger, a human face and human hands. It's got eyes under its armpits. It's got like a baby voice when it screams and stuff like that, but it eats people.
That is horrifying.
I know. It's great.
Is that the one that like the story says that like once it eats its 100th person, it gains a soul and becomes a normal baby or something stupid?
No. With Taotia as like the creature of like gluttony and lust, it's just has a voracious appetite, and like it's so focused on eating and consuming things that at one point it actually consumed its own body when it didn't have anything else to eat. So it ate itself up until its head was left, and it died. And so like it's become the symbol of like greed and gluttony and lust in China. And it's like to warn people off. So like you see like the motif of its head just in weird places.
Did Hayao Miyazaki use that in Spirited Away, the giant baby?
I don't know.
Yeah, there is like that weird giant baby in there, but
And at some point there's just heads of it, I remember.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I'm not sure, but so yeah, the Taotia is one of my favorite bad guys, I guess. We'll do that.
It has. I'm still struggling on it. It has eyeballs under its armpits. That's just so strange. Does that mean it has to lift its arms above its head all the time so it can see anything?
like this creature from Pan's Labyrinth.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah. So
That's creepy.
that's my thingy.
Why is it your favorite?
Because I like it's so often used as like a bad guy in stories and stuff when I was growing up. So I heard a lot about Taotia being like the so-called evil cultivator or evil creature and things like that. So a lot of sex and like martial arts heroes in those movies and TV shows are like, those are the things that they go over and fight. And you get to see like the humanized versions of it in the TV shows, obviously. So it gets really cool to see like the personification of like that endless greed, endless gluttony. It's just no matter how much it got something, including things like power or whatever, like they always want more, to the point where it doesn't matter if it's going to be self-destructive at the very end. It's just they don't care about that. They just want it, regardless of whether or not at the very, very end they're going to die from it or it's going to lead other people to come over and destroy them. It doesn't matter. They just want it. It's that possessive, like obsessiveness that I think is really a lot of people have, but in such a smaller degree of. But to see it so personified in its just purity is really cool.
It's an awesome concept to take like a foible of humanity and take it to such an extreme. And to be fair, we do see that happen on occasions, of people getting so greedy they just basically completely and utterly destroy themselves until there is nothing left.
Yeah. So I just think it's
That
really
is
cool.
Terrifying and awesome. All right, we spoke about my third favorite already, which were the fairy sprites and imps. My mum used to love fairies, and our entire garden was covered in little fairy statues.
Aww.
Just all over the place. We had a fake wishing well, and there was like a bunch of fairies that just sat on the edge of that, and they looked really cute. That was it. That's kind of the only reason I like them, other than the whole mischievous chaos nature of fairies and imps. So, Aethel, what is in your second position?
That would be the classic chimera. That would be a wolf's, lion's head, goat's head, and at the end of its tail, it has a snake head. I cannot explain why. It crops up in so many different video games and fantasy stories and like monster manuals, and I just love this version. I hate the manticore. The manticore's dumb. I love the chimera, the classic chimera. I swear to fucking Christ, if you give me like a chimera that's like a tiger and a goat, it's like, get that fake shit out of my face. Give me the classic. I
Hey,
didn't ask for the Whopper 2.0 with extra pink stuff. I asked for the classic. I love this classic chimera.
the Tautia is technically also a chimera because I think chimeras are just like a mishmash of
Yeah.
3 or more
different
creatures
creatures.
together. So
Yeah, like
So fuck you, Aethel, is what I'm hearing.
no, so
like
that's
mine
what I'm
is
saying.
better. Just kidding.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I know there are millions of different of chimeras, and you can all love your versions of chimeras, but I hate it when there's like the chimera's attacking the town, and it's like a half tiger, half zebra, and I'm like, the fuck is this?
Tiger, half zebra. How do you even make the distinction? They're all striped.
I think we're just under attack by a very vicious zebra, guys.
No, it was an albino tiger.
This one has some fucking issues.
No, like everybody can have their own favorite, like kind of mishmash of monsters and call them chimeras. I don't give a fuck. My favorite is the classic lion goat snake combo. I don't know why.
The thing is, you say classic. I don't think I've ever seen that particular chimera.
It's
Think
the
that's
the
the
only
one-
one that's represented in Greek stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the Greek mythology chimera.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It has
I
like
think
a
it's-
goat in its neck, like looking the other direction.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
in most media, you only see the lion and the snake tail, but you almost never see the goat in the neck.
I think the goat was like the goat body, or was it the lion's body? I can't remember.
It has a lion's body and a goat neck and a snake tail.
Yeah, I think the mane of the lion kind of became like a goat head that can kind of swivel around a little bit.
Yeah, it's just growing out of the neck.
I am now thinking of like the skeletal bone structure to make that work.
It doesn't work. You can't make it work. Just like a hydra, it doesn't work.
I mean, it could.
You can't make it work.
Yeah, but
You could.
I guess on a hydra, like, you know how we have fingers? I guess that's just how the neck structure is.
Yeah. Except, it can.
Yeah,
it's
but
more snaky and like.
all of them have like vocal cords and like they're connected to the bowels and stuff. And
That you know what, Cassie?
Yeah.
You do have a point. They would not be able to talk individually. They would all have to speak at the same time. That's got to be a burden.
I mean, like they could.
That's a good
because
point.
you always see them roaring.
Each head could potentially
not
have
work.
its own brain, and its own vocal
Yeah.
cord throughout the neck area.
Yeah, but they're all
and-
connected to this one
The
set of
breath,
lungs that's in the
yeah.
chest.
That's
And
true.
what happens when one of them goes out of sync with the breathing? Like,
Wait, no, hang on, no.
Lungs.
Wait, hydras are based off of snakes, correct?
Yes,
it's
so-
I think so.
Snake lungs, are well. It actually depends on whether or not they're.
I think the snakes are just
boas.
the heads, and the body is amphibian, like a
Lizard-looking
like
thing.
lizard, like a what are they called?
Oh, yeah, no, you're right, 'cause they have-
Komodo dragons.
Komodo dragons.
Komodo.
Komodo dragons.
Because
that's
at
one,
least with snakes, I know the lungs of snakes are elongated, and so one of them they could either have one or two lungs. So technically, if you want to do it that way, yes, it could have its own lung in each elongated neck of the hydra. That leads into the. I don't know.
Okay, welcome to the section where we make chimeras work anatomically.
Or my alternative favorite, it's magic.
Or that. Now I need to draw out the anatomical correctness of a hydra sometime. Why do you do this? to
Maybe
me?
each head has
Oh,
like
God.
one lung that it's in control of.
And it's solely for the purpose of for talking and
But
not
yeah,
breathing.
But the thing about
the creature's
hydras
breathing
is,
with
as
us
soon as you
weird.
cut one head off, two grow back. Two
Two,
heads
yes.
grow back. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh. Well, we'll go with magic.
Yes. That's some starfish level shit right there.
We'll go with
Now,
magic
there's
then.
the straight up magic part. Like everything else can be argued. The growing back heads thing is magic.
Yes.
I like how we chose this one to talk logistics. And we were just accepting that the other ones.
the chimera works
Yeah, they're fine.
100%. The
They're
hydra,
fine.
however.
All right, Kessie, what's your second mention?
Okay, my second mention is I have to pick one on the spot right now because I was saving both of them for honorable mentions. Okay.
You just have a list of honorable mentions, no actual picks.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they're like side dishes, but not main courses.
Well, if you eat enough side dishes, it's a meal.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
fine.
Okay, then I'm going to pick the selkie because I really like the concept of basically seals like that get stranded and some person steals your skin and there's a woman underneath it and you hide the skin somewhere and then you basically have yourself a wife.
Eh,
Such a sad
Kidnapping
concept.
101.
No,
This
but like
sounds
I like
bad,
to. Yeah,
all
it is
those
super
things.
bad.
Neil, it's back from the time when people used to beat seals to death with rocks just for like, extra food. Like
Shits and
it's from
giggles.
bad times.
Yeah,
I mean, at least it's food at that point.
but I like
Yeah.
I like the sad idea of the selkies just like suddenly trapped in a human body on sea, no less, that they can never not on sea, on land.
On the land. Yeah.
On land, and they can never go back to the sea, and they're so yearning to go back to the sea, but they cannot find their own skins because their husbands or like the first next best guy that found them on the shore hit that skin.
Yeah.
It's such a sad existence.
Iceland has
Yeah.
a story about one of those. If I remember correctly, the guy finds the woman bathing and he finds the sealskin and he steals the sealskin and hides it away.
That's
And he doesn't tell her he stole it. And then he goes in there and he's like, "Hey, do you need anything? You're naked on the beach. What the fuck?" And then he
you want to fuck.
basically tricks her into coming back with him. And then they have children and blah, blah, blah. And the story goes on. And he eventually dies of old age, but she doesn't. And then when the kids are going through the house, they open the chest and find the sealskin. And the mom's just like,
I'm
"Oh,
gone, bye bitches."
yeah, I don't love any of you anymore.
Bye.
This entire thing, this entire experience was a lie. And I'm just taking my sealskin and I'm gone. And it's this really weird story. I
Yeah.
don't know what the moral is.
I think it's basically that the selkie, like, I think she still loves her children because I know a similar story, but she loved the sea more, like
Yes.
her home, like her origin.
Yeah.
The one that I know of, because I love selkies too, is that the point is no matter what else a selkie will love, or a roan as well would love, the sea is their first love. That is their home, their love, their lover. That is their everything, because that is the source of their magic as well. So when they do lose their skin, even if they do manage to fall in love, find a family or whatever, as soon as they get that chance to go back to the ocean, they will take it. On the other hand, as well, it's just they're mythical beings. They're most likely immortal of some sort. So regardless, they're going to outlive their kids too. So I guess in this case, just abandon them. Whatever.
I do have a inkling back to the idea that the first love is always the ocean. I have a feeling that may have been part of the story and I'm just misremembering it.
I mean, I get it. Like, I came here to this part of Germany for my ex. Now that he's gone, I'm like, I would love to move back to my home, but I can't. I haven't found my selkie skin yet. Sorry.
Aw. Or bun skin, I guess, in your case.
I was about to say, I think
sorry,
it's more bun
I'm
pelt
actually
than.
a giant bunny. I wear one of those creepy suits in my spare time, and it's gone.
like 1940s Easter bunny suits. Like,
Oh, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, those
Yeah, back
pictures that
when
you
Easter
sent me.
was about scary. About being scary.
Back in the old days when Easter was about scary bunnies and not the
That
good
thing
chocolate
lays
giving
eggs.
bunnies.
What?
Like, wait,
You
that
want
makes
to
me- Okay.
fertilize these eggs with me, kids?
Did you just say kids?
Well, I mean, like,
no,
I never understood that.
pedo bunny.
If I were a rabbit, I'd probably look that kind of scraggly and scared too if I were just all of a sudden laying all these eggs once a year.
It's like,
And why are they chocolate? It's
Why?
us for no reason. Oh, yowzers. All right, Neil.
The
hit
Easter
us up. What
bunny.
have you got next?
No.
Oh, Easter bunny? Okay. Interesting choice.
Choice?
How strangely on point.
Trying to think of what it's called now. Because I'm trying to do the different ones. I don't just want to do like werewolves, you know? Werewolves are cool.
Lycanthrope?
werewolves. Oh yeah. All that. But how do you say it? The Wendigo?
Wendigos.
Yeah.
Hey, that's from up here.
Yeah.
That has like an E to it, like Wendigo, right?
Wendigo is Wendigo. Wendigo.
The
Yeah.
second.
Wendigo.
So
I think we've said it two ways. So you must know what we're talking about at this point.
yeah. Good enough. You know what we're talking about. That thing is pretty scary. It always looks scary when you see depictions of it because it's a humanoidy thing that's dead and smells dead and has all dead things about it. And it has, I think, like an elk head or something, or antlers, or yeah. And its thing is that it just consumes, and it's cannibal. It's a cannibal horror, basically. It consumes people and doesn't stop. And that's its thing, is it has endless hunger. And it will grow to the size of whatever it next eats and will not be satisfied. And yeah, they're just a terrible thing that's going to chase you and try to eat you in the woods in, the mountains of northern, I guess, United States, but Canada, I think,
Yeah.
is particular where it's considered that Wendigos came from.
Am I misremembering? But sorry, like this is going to be a bit of a tangent, but I think I heard somewhere that like Wendigos are created when a human eats another human out of desperation, not out of cruelty, but out of desperation.
That is an indigenous American lore of some sort. I can't remember which one. So I can't quite say which tribe or anything like that. But yes, I do know that story. It is, Wendigos are considered evil spirits, and they can possess people to eat other people. And it's usually in the case of like it's heavy winter and they're trapped and there's no other way for them to get food or and things like that, where their spirit would possess them and they would consume like their family members and things like that. But the rest of the tribes will understand that that is the work of the evil spirit or the malevolent spirit. So once that person like is no longer possessed, that crime or what they've done doesn't hang over them. The rest of the people are just like, oh, okay, that already happened. You're cool again and you're fine. But there's other stories where it is that if the person is starving and desperate and they eat another being or another human, they become a Wendigo.
Yeah. There is the sad part of like this probably definitely originated from the fact that, humans have endured a lot of horrifying things and have processed this in these ways. And this is where a lot of this stuff comes from and originates from. It's just, tragedy basically, but scary nonetheless.
They're terrifying
Popping up a
looking.
lot in media these days. I
Yeah.
feel like.
We watched like a really weird movie the other day where like there were like 5 people in a mountain area, like they went way off course, and it was like a fake documentary.
Yes.
Don't say it like that if you don't remember.
I have no memory of what you're talking about, but
It's the
if
movie
you
that
keep
has like a
talking.
really good build up and then ends awful.
Oh, the last broadcast?
Is that what it's called?
If I showed it to you, it was the last broadcast.
Yeah. In that that was like a movie that was like made in the kind of in the form of a
Found footage?
found footage documentary kind of thing. So there are people that are going through found footage and trying to puzzle together what actually happened. And throughout the movie, the entire time, I'm like, I think it might be a Vendingo thingy.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
the ending's fucking atrocious, and it does nothing
Yeah,
for the movie.
But boy, howdy, did the ending ruin the shit of that movie.
Yeah, when I was looking at things from this list and I read that and that it had like, origins that weren't super modern, I was actually surprised because I was like, damn, I didn't know
There's
that this
a
was
video
a thing
game
for a long
that's
time.
actually really good for it too. I think it's called Until Dawn, and it's more of a playable movie. I know
Yeah.
we have it for the PS4. I don't know if it's on every console.
I remember one that someone played. I don't remember if it's the same one that you mentioned, but it was like the typical a bunch of school kids go into the woods to
Yeah.
camp
Yeah.
out there in a cottage or whatever and get killed there. The typical movie like that every American horror story starts out with.
Yeah, it's more story driven. You get to control each of the characters, and most of like the so-called quote combat is like quick time actions, which I'm really bad at. So
Yeah. Oh, I found a trick for quick combat. Sorry, for quick time events. Try switching hand.
What? That's only because your left hand is shit at mashing the key. It's nothing to do with
So
quick
the
time.
quick time is the mashing, and I was doing that with my left hand because that's where the keys were. And I found out when I switched to my right hand and mashed the keys, I could do it. I don't know what to tell you. Give it a shot. Give it a shot next time you're stuck in these quick time events. Try just switching which hand does the mashing.
I think I might die faster.
But yeah, I think the game you're talking about actually has the main character from Mr. Robot as one of the characters in the story. Remember, they made like 3 of these games. The first one like was a super success, and then the other 2 were just meh.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen the other ones then.
One of them happened on a boat that's like haunted, and I don't remember the third
I think that's Man of Medan.
Yeah.
The one that happens on the boat. Yeah. Tien,
Oh.
what have you got for your second dimension?
All right. I would have to say it's the Qilin, which is like one of the most also very
Aw.
heavily used just Chinese mythology things. So the Qilin.
I looked that up earlier because I had a different idea of it.
So the Qilin are like one of the auspicious beasts, or like there's okay. So there's 2 versions of it that I know of. One is from Taoism and the other one is from Buddhism. So, and either one of those, they're like another chimera type creature. So they've got like the body of a horse. They've got hooves, like cloven hooves. I think that's the one that's split, right? So they have that. They have the
Yes,
head
yeah.
of a dragon. They have like the tail of a lion. It's just all kinds of stuff. But the really
And a
cool
horn
part
on the
about it.
forehead.
What was that?
And a horn on the forehead.
Well, they have 2 horns. They're like antlers, like deer antlers, really.
But behind each other, weren't they?
No, they're both on both sides. It's like
Really?
kind of like the dragon head that has like the antlers on it.
Might have seen a different version of it.
Yeah, they're also known as the Kirin in Japanese. So they took
Yeah,
it
the
and they
Kirin,
made their
yeah.
own thing.
The-
So
Basically, the Asian unicorn version. That's what they are most usually described as. But they looked very different in their original form.
yeah. So the Qilin, I'm not sure why they call it unicorns because they have 2 horns and they're
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
antlers,
I
not
just...
horns.
So
Are to be fair, the ones I'm looking at, it looks like they have a mohawk of fire on their head, which could be indicated as a singular horn, I guess.
So anyway, the thing I like about them is that in most stories, they're these very benevolent creatures. They come down, they're usually like pets of deities, but sometimes they'll come down to the mortal realm, and those times they usually mark like the coming or the passing of like sagacious people or really good benevolent emperors and rulers and things like that. So it usually marks those time passings in the mortal realm. But what I love is that they hate evil. They hate evil. They fight it. They are as they're gentle and loving to most other creatures. But if you are evil, they'll fuck you up. It is their thing. But that's like the Taoist version. Like the Buddhist version, they're so benevolent that they are usually depicted as walking on clouds or like fountains of water, because they don't even want to touch the ground with their hooves because they're so scared of like hurting a blade of grass.
Oh.
So they're so nice. They look ferocious and terrifying. And if you're evil, there's a reason why. But for the most part, for like people or whatever, you're probably never going to see one, obviously. But if you did, and if you're a good person, that's a good thing. They're nice.
Like, funny that we should mention Studio Ghibli again. When you started describing it, my brain went to the forest spirit from Princess Mononoke, and I googled it, and it's like, no, that doesn't really fit, but it might have been like you have
to know that Studio Ghibli almost never used the one-on-one direct inspiration. They made something of their own that kind of had the ideas, but looked completely different. So it might have been based off of that.
Yeah,
inspired by
Yeah.
And that creature, it walks on water a lot, and I remember that in some scenes it's like tippy-toeing, but sometimes when it like steps all the way down, it like grows the area around it and stuff like that. It's like, it's its own thing, of course, but it's something my brain went to.
I think there was some mention that it was the inspiration of, I'm not sure either, but yeah, so that is the Qilin, spelled Qilin.
Yeah, thanks for telling me that now after I googled
why.
for like...
yeah.
I did make it when you described it. I googled your description, and Google went, "Did you mean Quilin?" And I was just like, "Yes, I guess."
So yes, pronounced Qilin, spelled Qilin. So yeah, that is one of my absolute favorite. They're so cool. There's different versions of like this particular beast, and some of them like breathe fire, and there's like I said, these are benevolent creatures, but there's aberrant ones that are like the fallen versions of them that are usually depicted as black, and they are vicious as hell. Like there are mounts of demons and evil cultivators and sorcerers and things like that. And they, I guess maybe not sorcerers. We don't really have sorcerers. It's just cultivators and whatever. But yeah, they're terrifying, and they will fuck you up, and they'll eat you, and it's horrible. But otherwise,
That is very cool.
otherwise,
I guess that might be kind of be the inspiration around the unicorn, because that is also a being of like pure good, or whatever it is.
The unicorn evolved independently from the Chinese version.
Really?
Yeah, the unicorn
is
was based on rhinoceroses because the people of Europe just went to Africa and then came back and were like, there was this big horse and it had like one horn.
But that is sometimes like one of the like strange coincidences of just our existence, really, is that you can have things that develop independent of each other and they are very similar. Like, I love finding those things. I think it's like global consciousness or something like that.
That's actually really cool.
The theory that everything is kind of linked and everyone sees it through a dream. And that's why everything is slightly different between the cultures. It's like we interpret it slightly differently because we interpret them through dreams.
So the one thing that, like I said before, like I'm not quite sure why it's called a unicorn, because if you really want to equate it to a more realistic well, I guess unicorns aren't really realistic either. So, but like
Pissed off zebra.
but they're more likely to be, I don't know, thought of as like short-necked giraffes more than a unicorn or anything like that. But with like
Oh, yeah,
dragon
'cause-
scales and a lion-ish
I have seen them a lot with
body.
one horn, and I have the Wikipedia open right now because I had read it earlier, and it actually says it is often translated as into English as unicorn, as it can sometimes be depicted to have a single horn.
Yeah.
Also, this is misleading, as Killians may also be depicted as having two horns.
See,
Yeah.
I've never
Like-
seen it with one horn growing up. It's always been two, so I'm not sure of that either.
I only saw it with one
Yeah.
horn. all
Yeah,
my
so
life.
from what like the images that I found, because I type things into images because that's how my
Yeah,
brain works with
same.
this stuff. Like they all have two horns, except that one picture I had where you could see like the kind of like flame effects that they put on it, and the flame effects look like a mohawk. Like that's the only thing that is anything like a uni anything.
What are you guys talking about? I wrote Quillen and I have like at least 5 on my first page that look like they have a single horn. You guys are crazy.
Google is biased.
Google, you have betrayed us for the last
I
time.
scroll too far. I'm starting to see personas.
Oh,
Scroll
no.
back
Okay,
up,
scroll back up, scroll back up.
Back up.
Oh, there's another like
Alright.
one-horned version, kind of like a one-horned version, but it's called a Xieja, and it's different as
I
well.
might
It's
be
also
seeing
a
this.
righteous beast, but it does ram people who are like,
Totally righteous, dude.
like if you're
You
wrong,
are evil. I will kill you.
if you're wrong and you're lying and you're like, it just okay. So the wrongful party in like an argument, if the Shija ever like encounters one of them, they look very much like a Qilin. If they encounter like this arguing couple, and whoever is the actual wrong party, the wrongful party, it'll run up to them and like ram it with its horn.
I love the
like a
idea
bitch
that that's
slap.
just how all arguments are solved. Like, all right, we're finding a Quillian and we're gonna see a Chilian and we're seeing who's wrong.
Murderous bitch slap.
Or like a husband comes home late and like, where have you been? Oh, I was at the office. And she's like, really? Well, do you see a Killian kicking my ass?
Qilin.
Sorry, how do you say it?
Qilin.
Chilin.
Yep,
Sorry,
Chilin.
I was seeing what I spelled out and it's fucking my brain.
Okay. It's like the American Q, so you think it's a K
The
sound.
wonderful world of multiple languages.
I know.
And I've mostly seen it in animes, for example. One of my favorite animes actually has them as a main race. That it's the series is called 12 Kingdoms, and basically there's a world beside like somewhere between Japan and China. There's like this whirlwind that people often get drawn into this world called the 12 Kingdoms, and the 12 Kingdoms like are distributed by the Kirins. Like they find a king and then give that one the power by being their Kirin or something. It's one of my favorite animes.
Well, yeah, that's like the Qilin is meant to
yeah.
for
But they also
like,
only
rightful
have one
rulers.
horn in there. I think it might be the Japanese that put the one horn in there.
they're
know
like,
what
you know what? The Chinese have the Qilin, so let's make it different. One horn. We're good.
But I
Call it a
see
Qilin, and it's good.
if you scroll it on the Wikipedia page, there's a few statues that are from like the 4th century, 3rd century that only have one horn.
Variations. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, I've only ever seen them with two.
It might be... All right. My second entry, it's the Grim Reaper. I love all the
That's
mythoses
real.
around the Grim Reaper. No. Neil, no. I love the idea of having someone who either ferries you to the afterlife or is the person that kind of cuts the binding between your soul and your body, and that moment is when the Grim Reaper is doing the stuff. Like, there are many variations and stories around the Grim Reaper, like, hey, they're the ones that actually just ferry your soul when you pass on, or like, actually, they're the ones that cut your soul from your body, i.e. they rip you with their big-ass thing. They hold timepieces to know when your moment of death is coming. Some of them are consistently following you. Be they a skeletal figure or someone that you recognize or a familiar presence. Like, I think I'm not wrong in thinking that most cultures somewhere have a variation of the Grim Reaper. And I just love all of that kind of ideology around it, that there is something comforting in that. I might be the only one, but I have heard a story, or one of the stories I heard was that the Grim Reaper is female and not male as traditionally depicted, because females bring you into the world, females will take you out of the world. And I don't know where that idea or that story come from, but I've spoken to a lot of people and everyone's like, I've never heard of that shit, so I might just be making it up.
All I can think of is some like disgruntled married couple be like, yeah, a female will take you out of the world.
I heard it
Maybe my mum just said it to my dad one time and I just like...
I heard it a different way, like the females bring you into the world, and men are the ones that are doing war, so they are the ones that bring you out of the world.
It is a skeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever decides if it was a female or a male skeleton, usually they have like this long robe.
They have transcended gender, in a sense. It matters not.
Yeah, underneath it's still all skeleton.
Yeah, only bone now. All is bone.
Everything leads to bone. I have to agree with you, V. I do, like, when you mention it, I'm realizing, like, oh, like, we've talked about Reapers a bunch.
Yeah.
Even, like, the worst, weirdest versions of it in the TV show Dead Like Me.
Oh yeah, like we did find this out to like a little while ago. We're both fans of Dead Like Me, which is a TV series around a girl who becomes a Grim Reaper. Like she gets killed by a toilet seat from the International Space Station when it blows up, and she becomes a Grim Reaper, and she just lives her life looking like something different and like reaping souls, and like there's a whole process and a bunch of other Reapers that exist as well. Like yeah, like I love that show, and yeah, I love Grim Reapers.
It's a funny version of the Grim Reapers because they're so stuck with paperwork, like everything goes through like checks and balances.
Oh, it's bureaucratic.
It's bureaucratic, yes, thank you, that's the word. That kind of makes the whole thing kind of entertaining.
Yeah, I love Grim Reapers. I love them so much I made a version of them for our pod because I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I love them. I need this in my life. I need terrifying skeletal creatures that either help you in your afterlife or they ferry you to the next place or they are around you all the time because death is around us all the time, unfortunately. So I don't know, just something about it I just find fascinating and I have done for like ever. I think when I was doing my GCSEs, my school stuff, a lot of the poetry we had to write for the poetry segment was based around the Grim Reaper. And most of the short stories I was forced to write was based around the Grim Reaper. I have a strange obsession, I guess.
Oh, you were on a list.
My teachers are like, oh, she has problems. They weren't wrong.
If she doesn't show up for school 2 days, we go home, we go knock, right, guys?
You say that, but I used to regularly not turn up to school. My attendance was less than 70%.
Oof.
Like, yeah, for my GCSE years, I was just about 75%. Yeah, I still passed them all, so I don't give a shit.
I think my only quarrel with the Grim Reaper is that they're often depicted as the bad person, like especially on metal covers or something. They're always like, "I'm gonna kill you with my massive skies."
I was gonna say that's probably an American thing.
Oh no, that's like a metal band thing.
Depicted as like the bad
fucking
guy.
metal. What's more metal than a skeleton wearing a black robe holding like the biggest, baddest scythe in the world, and it is gonna take you out of this goddamn world, and there's nothing you can do about it.
So wait, hang on.
What?
So is it terrifying because it is a skeletal creature, or is it terrifying because it is a skeletal creature wearing a black cloak? So if you took this creature and put it in like a black suit,
ignore the scythe.
ignoring the scythe for the time being. Ignoring the scythe for the time being.
Okay.
I mean, like they should upgrade and do a lawnmower, but whatever. But that's an Eddie user joke. Sorry. But yeah,
No, they're ride-on mowers these days.
What if it's a skeleton in a dress?
yeah. Like, what is the scary part? Is it because it's wearing the cloak that makes it, scary and ambiguous, or is it the fact that it's a skeleton? Or if it's a naked skeleton, would it be less scary, more scary? What's going on?
Okay, so skeletons are inherently spooky. Like that's just a fact.
Okay. Unless you're
we
a
all
dog.
have skeletons inside of us, and they want to get out, but we control the muscles, so we can force them to do whatever we want. Like that's spooky shit. Think about it. No,
Oh, boy.
there's no logic behind it. It's the same way that like somebody pointed out that like black, red, and white is like the go-to like try-hard, edgy colors, and you can find it everywhere you look. Reaper from Overwatch, Sonic the Hedgehog, the Shadow, I think his name is. There's a Mega Man character that does it. Like, they're all over the fucking world. There are the edgy characters, and they're always these colors.
But there's a bunch of fun things now. I see a bunch of fun comics out there that are real sad. They have the Reaper having a discussion or something, and it's like a real sad comic or whatever. But a lot
is it the one
of
with
where
the
you see
animals?
it being like depicted negatively or scary is where you get into that final destination bullshit where you're watching a living person. This isn't like someone passing. This is like someone avoiding the Grim Reaper as if the Grim Reaper is coming for them, as if that's the bad guy. Death is inevitable, but they're attaching that inevitability to the Grim Reaper attacking, which is nonsensical.
It is instead making the Grim Reaper a murderer, as opposed to a savior of your soul or spirit to ferryman.
A welcome spirit.
A farrier.
Yes.
Like, so souls don't get lost. That's kind of what I always interpreted
I like that. That's
the
nice.
Grim Reaper as. And where we're often, I think, seeing the Grim Reaper as like, it's like don't shoot the messenger. Like, the Reaper is just here doing their freaking job, and you're angry at them for taking your soul because it's just a really big representation of death, and people are scared of that. Like, it's just one of our inherent, like, I would rather not die than die. And that is encoded in pretty much 99% of us. And I think here's the messenger telling you, oh yeah, it's now your time. It's just terrifying. I think that's why he's always depicted as being the bad guy.
And if you're an asshole and he's going to, if you're one of those people that believes in a good place and a bad place, that person has to take you to one of the two. So if you have reason to be scared because you think you might have been an asshole, then you might be scared of that person, your encounter with them, despite the fact that they are just doing their job. I don't know. There's a lot to dig into, like how the Grim Reaper has been depicted and changed and used.
Like, it was definitely more of a horror scare. This is the bad guy, and it's inevitable, so you can't actually outrun him anyway. And I like how, to be fair, it is kind of shifting nowadays to being less the Grim Reaper is scary. It is more, hey, the Grim Reaper is doing some job. They're just a byproduct of this. I like how that's shifting that way.
Yeah.
That's just me, though. All right. Away from such grim topics, Aethel.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Jesus is your mythical creature. Okay.
No, Jesus is not my mythical creature.
Wow, calling out the Christians today, Aethel. Jesus.
Aethor, that one's real.
No, stop it. Don't drag me down this fucking hole. You guys could jump down it yourself. You're not dragging me with you. I am going to be the most basic bitch Karen you can find, and my number one is dragons. Okay. I hate it. I hate it. I've gone over it again and again in my head, and I always come back to dragons. And I'm not saying like D&D 5th edition dragons. I'm saying all the possibilities of dragons and the lore.
Yeah, they came. Yeah.
Yeah, Neil and I were
There's
talking about we
different
didn't
versions,
want
yeah.
to do this
So
because
many
it was
different versions.
So
But yeah.
there was a version of a world once that I was reading about that I fell in love with, and it reminded me why I love dragons. And it was the idea that at the start of the world, there was just humans. They just lived forever. There was nothing else. And then there was the birth of death, and death got created. And in that moment, there was a dragon born that represented death. And he is the source of all death. He is all the death. But with him came life, so the life dragon was also born. And then in the future, humans discovered magic, and the magic dragon was born. And I love this idea that there's just these infinitely powerful creatures out there, and they represent something. And if you destroy that creature, you can remove that concept from the world. And the story was supposed to be that, like, all the humans get together to destroy the death dragon again, to get rid of it. Because they didn't want it. They don't know who created it, but they wanted it the fuck out of there. It's like, I love this concept, this dumb idea. I love dragons. I love, like, even though the movies were shit, I love Smaug. Like, I love that fucking dragon. Benedict did a great job. I love dragons. Dragons are cool. Just make them huge, make them nemesing, make them infinite.
I also think anyone who voices dragons, like you were saying, like Smaug, like anyone who voices dragons, they just have they always seem to pick the right type of person for that. Like in Merlin, the British TV series. Yeah, they used John Hurt, and holy shit, was that, from that point in my brain, dragons should always be British. And we should stop being villains and everything and just be dragons.
So good.
Where do you think the hoarding gold thing came from? Because you're talking about some like spiritual representations of aspects of being. But like, where did they get greedy?
I've no idea. Like, I think that's probably the origin, the idea that people could go out, kill a dragon, and come back with a bunch of gold. Like, I think that's probably the origin. Like, they had to mix this story up, like add a couple of things, because you can't just go out and kill a dragon and come back rich. It's like, where did the money come from? It's like, oh, there's a bunch of dirty pants.
There was some stories that said those dragons, their bodies themselves were the minerals and things like that. So the scales were the actual gems and gold and things like that. So like their whole bodies were created of those things. And that's the whole slaying of a dragon. And you can actually take their hoard, which is technically their body. And it was the treasure.
If I remember rightly, I think in Narnia, when they meet a dragon, and I might be misremembering this completely, I think that is also the same thing of like the dragon's body is the kind of the things that they're looking for. It is the gold, it is the metals. Like, I might be misremembering, but yeah, I've heard that also.
I don't even remember a dragon in Narnia.
That would be the
I
third
might be
movie?
talking completely out of my ass, but I specifically remember a scene where there are dragon scales, and it was in a thing, and the kind of like, haha, fuck you, is like if you covered it in seawater, like they stopped being whatever it was. I don't remember exactly. I just remember that scene.
And like Ether was saying how like if you want the dragons to be menacing and just ferocious and cool and large, and it's so different from like the dragons that I grew up with, like the Eastern Chinese dragons and stuff like that. Our dragons are benevolent. They're wise. They didn't like attack people without being provoked first. They gave out wisdom to the sages that managed to find their lair and things like that. They hoarded knowledge and I guess stuff as well, because they live forever and people just come over and give tribute to like, hey, here's this pile of whatever and give us knowledge. And they would do that. And dragons are like the bringers of rain to help with drought. And it is just, the difference is so cool.
I think you're onto something here. Like, I feel like dragons in all folkloric stories are like a goal that a society wants to obtain. Like in European cultures, of course, it's like wealth and stuff. And in Asian countries, it's like knowledge. So it makes sense that the dragons hoard knowledge in Asian countries, while they hoard gold or like stuff people want to have in European countries.
I could see
if
that.
I remember rightly, I think like the Welsh and the British dragons, like the older the dragons got, the less they were hunted. One, because they're fucking ferocious, and two, because they hold wisdom. Like they have wisdom in them, and like going to them, you would learn stuff. Like the mages of old in British folklore, like would go to them and study with them for a while. Like pay their tributes, go to school, pay your fees, and then leave with more knowledge than what they arrived with. It was the younger ones that was temperamental and horrible.
And the dragons had all this money laying around because they were like, I have no way of using this.
Exactly. They're like, what am I going to do this? What am I going to use this with? It's pretty. I'll keep it to decorate my place, but I don't need to buy anything.
I wanted to mention earlier, don't like certain lizards like to roll around in the sand? Dragons are just way much bigger lizards, so they have
their sand needs to be way bigger.
The
coins are the sand grains. The gold coins are the sand grains, at that point comparatively to the size.
I mean, that's basically what Smaug is doing.
yeah,
He's just
okay.
bathing in this stuff, like a fucking, what are they called? Chinchilla.
Oh yes.
I like to think of it more begrudgingly than that. Like, this is the backwards Robin Hood. Like, I want your money because I despise the fact that you use it, and I don't want you to have it.
You're
Currency
doing it
is
wrong.
bad. Give it to me.
Yeah. You stop using this.
So that I can
because
bathe in it.
Because we mentioned dragon voices, I want to shout out, what's the name of the movie? Dragonheart, which has Sean Connery as the dragon. And it is the dumbest movie, but it is way better than it has any right for a CG dragon movie from 1996. Like, it is genuinely kind of entertaining, and I have to rewatch it now that I'm thinking about it.
All right. That be dragons.
Yeah, be dragons.
Kessie.
Here be dragons. So my top one creature is the Wolpertinger. And I'm going to, I went over that list that you sent out earlier, and there's like several different kinds of Wolpertingers, or like they exist in other cultures as well. In Sweden, they're called skvaders. In the US, they're called jackalopes. And in Arabic countries, they're called almirai or almiraj. I'm not sure, almiraj. Basically, they're like bunnies with antlers. That's the jackalope, the boring part, and like bunnies with everything else, like with wings and stuff. Oh no, wait, the almirai only has a single horn, so it's like a bunny unicorn.
Is that what I have?
The and the skvaders, they have like both the antlers and wings, and sometimes they have rooster's tail feathers, and sometimes like they have like the back legs of a fox. So basically, they're also chimera creatures. But yeah, I grew up with them. The Wolpertingers in particular, they are a Bavarian based folkloric creature, and I saw them for the first time when my dad took me to I don't remember what kind of not contest, what's it called? Gathering thingy for to display artistic stuff. Not a museum.
Gallery?
No, it wasn't a gallery.
Yeah,
like people were like displaying and selling their handmade stuff from home.
Auction?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, like a market.
Yeah, like it was like a market, but like for artistic stuff, like people like knitters.
A cross fair.
Yeah, more like a cross fair.
I feel like you've gotten every word possible right now, Kessie.
Anvil, that's the word.
It's right. So we went to the local anvil.
And I saw them there. There was like a hunter that displayed his Wolpertingers there, and my dad explained it to me because he grew up with an uncle that was a hunter who also made Wolpertingers, and basically like in the olden times, it was the hunters basically sewing together animals out of other animal parts and then stuffing them, and they were like, "Look, I found this Wolpertinger! It is so rare!" And then they were trying to drive the prices of their puppets.
It's a what's this thinger?
Huh?
It's a what's this thinger?
Yeah.
What's your finger? Did you say a Wolpertinger? Yes.
That's it. You've heard of them.
My dad even used to tell me, like, if you go out with a salt shaker and look for a Wolpertinger and shake some salt onto their tails, they will stay seated. So, like, to get kids to go into the forest and search for Wolpertingers with a little salt shaker, just to find a Wolpertinger.
That is adorable. Like, just sending kids into the woods with a salt shaker. Oh.
I'm thinking about the dangerous possibilities of following that child.
Like, you can look at it negatively and say it's a creepy thing, but I think it's cute. I think it's cute.
No. What they're doing is cute. Yes. What might be following them might not be.
Hey kids, you want to go see a Wolpertinger? Here's a
Gross. All right, enough. Outie.
All right, sorry.
Oh,
I personally
that's
do
cute.
not like the jackalopes because they're the boring versions. They don't even have wings. Come on. You could have had wings. Why did you just put antlers on there?
Put a little effort into the
Yeah.
taxidermy, folks. Come on.
They were the
Everything can have
apprentice
horns.
taxidermist here.
I mean, look at the chirins. They have horns too.
Yeah.
I think you feel about the jackalope like I feel about dragons that don't have like 2 legs and wings, but the like kind of wing and leg
Wyverns?
combo.
Those are wyverns.
Yes, but a bunch of people call them dragons, and it
They're
makes me
not
fucking
right. It's
insane.
not a
they
dragon.
are dragons. They're just a different breed of dragons with
Yeah,
their
but why
own
would you
name.
want wyverns? Wyverns suck.
On
And
their
then
own,
there
they're
are also
cute.
the lintworms that don't even have back legs. They only have wings.
Isn't that just flying snakes?
I
Yeah.
love the flying snakes. I don't know why. I just love them.
Okay, so for ether, you either have to have wings and 4 legs or no legs at all. There's no wings and 2 legs.
I don't know
Make
why
up your
I like.
mind. Do
I
you
don't
want
know why I
legs
like
or
them.
not?
No, wyverns are shit.
Etho, so upsetting.
Or none. Choose.
No wyverns, but flying snakes are fine.
No half committal here. It's all 4 legs or no legs.
Like, I can't
I
explain.
mean,
it.
basically, if it only has 2 legs and wings, it's like a naked bird.
it's
It's a
bat.
bat.
It's a
Yeah.
Wyvern is back, can confirm.
Screeches in your general direction.
It is a short or vertically length challenged bat or whatever. That's what it is. Bats, short-bodied wyverns.
Bats. They're
I
cute.
love bats. They're
They are
adorable.
cute. Yeah.
But that makes me think. Didn't Smaug only have 2 legs? 2 wings? I
He,
don't remember.
he did not have a wing leg combo. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he had 4 legs and then like wings on his torso.
I'm gonna just believe that it's the proper dragon to make myself happy.
Really?
I,
It is. Let me show you.
if
I just
Smaug
looked
is a
it up.
wyvern, then there's no saving the fucking Hobbit movies.
I'm gonna tag you in
no
this.
saving
Here.
Hobbit movies.
Hey, all right, so let's take a look. No.
I'm waiting for this to. It's just still rendering on my end.
No.
Oh wait, no, hang on.
Yeah. There's. It's Mr.
Jesus.
Small.
He's a
Are they
wyvern.
legs?
Wait.
Because I remember
But
he
what-
was very awkward with his arm movement.
So
Because he had
his
wings on them.
his wings aren't attached to his back. It's attached to his forearms.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he's got like buff forearms, and at the end of those, instead of like
It's kind of like a pterodactyl thing, huh?
What is this?
yes,
Yes.
Except the pterodactyl, I think, had feet.
I don't think he has legs. I don't see legs in this picture. Oh my gosh.
He doesn't
Okay,
have legs.
we
He
need
only
to
has
Google
arms.
more.
What is happening?
I
All right,
think
we
he
need
does
to.
have legs.
I can't.
Smaug?
I can't.
Okay, Smaug has legs and arms, except the wings are attached to the arms.
He's a
Yeah.
Skyrim.
Yeah,
He's a Skyrim
yeah, that's
dragon.
right. Yeah, he's a Skyrim dragon. Ugh.
Boo.
As we're all
Do you think maybe they
sorry.
did that so they didn't have to animate extra legs?
I didn't want to ruin it for you.
I just
Oh,
went
they were
from
not missing-
Hey, aw.
They were not missing money in the Hobbit movies. Those movies are
No.
a fucking extravagant. Like, what's that fucking word? Like, they're like a gluttonous extravaganza of showing wealth. Like, there's no reason for 90%
They
of the shit in
literally
that
showed
movie.
wealth. Look at all the money on the,
Yeah.
on
I
the
feel
dragon
like-
shots.
Yeah.
I feel like my Smaug boner just
Died.
wilted.
If only it was a snake with wings.
Or a satyr.
I don't hate wyverns, but like
I love
do get
wyverns.
that there's a difference. Yeah.
Don't tell me it's a dragon and then show me a wyvern. That's the issue here. I like all
Alright,
of those
let's-
things.
Let's cease bashing on the wyverns.
It's like me
Neil, what have you got?
This is like me calling the geckos outside my house lizards. Like kind of, Neil. Kind of.
Are they not?
They're wingless dragons.
Geckos.
They're geckos. They're not
They're
lizards.
geckos. What kind of geckos
Geckos
are there?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I'll figure out.
The ones that lose their tails.
So there's a type of gecko that is in Thailand, and it's called, I think Thailand, well, Southeast Asia. It's called the tokay gecko, and they're called that because of the sound they make, which is tokay, tokay.
Aw.
But these things are monstrous. Like they are like they're pretty big, like the size of your hand, maybe a little bit bigger, and they're like powdery blue on their body. They have like these orangey-ish spots on them. And if they open their mouth, it's pitch fucking black or like dark blue. And when they bite you, they will not let go. You have to actually try to drown them for them to let go. I mean, like, you obviously don't have to drown them, but like, you have to hold your hand.
Keep them on your hand forever.
Oh, you have to like submerge them in water until they let go. But you have to like do that to a point where they almost drown or whatever, and then you can like whatever. But yeah, they will not let go at all.
The naming convention for them reminds me of a joke I heard once, which is that apparently the Egyptian word for cat is Mao. So somebody basically some Egyptian walked up to a cat and like, hey, what should I call you? And the cat went, meow. And he was like, yeah, sure.
It's Mao in Chinese too.
Oh.
Someone just went, what are you? Mao. All right.
Cool.
I'm glad you know what you are.
Whatever you say, buddy, I'm just scared.
There was this one time I was just so drunk at one of our friends' parties, and I didn't realize I was that drunk.
Gary
remembers this. And their cat, our friend's cat, came by, and my brain completely stopped. I meant to say cat, so I pointed at the cat and I went, Mao. And
Gary
knew what I meant, so that was fine.
Did the cat respond? Meow?
No, I don't remember.
I mean, you could just have played it down and said that was a command. It wasn't you trying to call its name.
I was just trying to point at it and be like, hey, there's a cat there. But no, my brain shut the fuck up and I went, Mao.
I think they're Mediterranean geckos, but I have no fuking idea. I just
Are you
know
looking
they
it
came
up
here
now?
from somewhere. I was looking it up, but I gave up. The most that I got is they got here from Florida, and now they're in all of southern United States and Mexico. And I think they might originate from northern Africa and Europe, but I don't know. Lizards came here from somewhere on boats, and now they're all over the place here. But they're the best. I just know they're an invasive species, quote unquote. Quote unquote.
Non-native
But they're-
lizards.
But they're the best. They're the invasive
I mean, so are
species.
Americans, but let's not talk about that.
Well, yeah. We came here from Europe on boats as well.
Yes.
So we have that in common. Lizards. Hit me up.
They are your spirit animals.
We
Oh,
will be friends.
the worst.
Um,
All right,
okay.
Neil, what have you got on your top spot, bud?
I'm amazed that no one took my fun thing, to be honest. So in, I think, Scotland, Ireland, and I think Iceland has a version of a horse that stands near the water.
Kelpies.
Yes.
The Kelpies.
Yep.
Kelpie. Yep. It's in my honorable mentions.
Yep. And you go, and I guess this was a way to keep kids from just going and touching random horses, because horses are wild and scary and can hurt you and dangerous. But yeah, you'll Kelpies have backwards feet, and that's the only way I think you can identify them. But by then it's too late, because as soon as you touch it, you are glued to it, and they lure you to like sit on them, which is scary because then you can't get away. But there was a story about a kid and his friends who went and they were petting a horse, and one of his buddies climbed up on the horse, and then they realized it has backwards hooves, and one of the kids was able to cut off his hands, but his buddy who sat on it was dragged into the lake and they drowned. And so they're just really scary horror stories for no reason. Really terrifying stories.
I love Kelpies. I've seen them in many different forms, and I think something about giving a horse head, the kind of elongated big head, to
Yeah.
something that looks semi-humanoid, which is a version I've seen of it, just absolutely threw me off. Like, was one of the more horrifying things I've ever seen in a video game. Was just this creature standing by a lake, and if you approached it, it would just drag you into the ocean.
Terrifying.
I don't have a picture in my mind. of
Every
what-
now and then someone's like, Neil, horses aren't scary. Come on. And I'm like,
Have
yeah,
you
they are.
seen their hooves?
So every story that I hear to give me reason to be scared of horses is validating. So there's
So my brother used to work on like a kind of farm and a kind of horticulture place, so that he had a place to go to during the day. He had respite for my parents, and they used to have a stables. So he was very familiar with the horses, and he loved them. He adored them. My parents went there, like they all rode horses apart my mum, and I never got to go near the horses. I wasn't allowed near the horses. I was very little at the time, so the only potential horse interaction I had wasn't until I came here to Iceland for the first time, and Aether was like, "Hey, come over and see like the world famous Icelandic horses." I'm like, "What the fuck is this shit?" So it's the horse. I'm like, "It's really cute." It's like, "Yeah, try." I like pet it, and I was petting it. Aether was like, "Ow!" Like, what? It kind of bit me. That's the only real horse interaction I've had. So I'm right on board with this Kelpie scare story. Kelpie scare story. I'm on board with
It's
that.
like when they prepare you to go near a horse, they're like, don't spook it. If you go behind it, touch it all the way so that it doesn't like see you in its peripherals and get scared and kick you to like death.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
it will. Oh, and don't get close to them in the front either, because some of them will bite your whole damn shoulder off.
Yep.
They're scary.
Or like because of
They are
how
big,
heavy
terrifying animals.
because of how heavy their
And-
heads are.
Oh, if you feed it, it might think your finger is a carrot and you can just say goodbye to that finger. So be
Yes.
careful when you
Yep.
feed it also.
And if
But
you're not careful.
But if you get past all of those things that might kill you, it's just a big dog. No, no.
I've interacted with horses a lot in my life. I've climbed many fences to just go play with the horses when I was younger. Never ever has a horse hurt me. Like they do that like kind of nipple thing, and it's the same thing that like dogs do,
The
where
lipping
dogs
thing.
and cats do, where they kind of like playfully bite you. I don't know where your fear of horses like. I just listened to you explain where your
They're
fear of
big
horses
and
comes from,
scared
so
and
I understand.
capable of murder.
I have been kicked by a horse. It is not fun.
Oh, yeah?
But thankfully, it was like a forward kick. It wasn't like kicked backwards. So it just took its hind leg and kicked forward on me because I was grooming it, and it decided you're doing it too lightly, and that tickles. Kick. And then its head's so heavy that when it's looking down and then it looks up really quickly, if you're not careful, you will bite your teeth off. I've had like bruises on my face because it nuzzled my face, but I still love horses.
Yeah.
I still ride them.
They have zero concept of like their strength and like
how
physical
Big
accessibility.
they are.
Yeah,
and how
they're scary.
fragile we are in comparison.
Yeah, I think they have a concept of their own strength if they're fighting other horses, but not people like us.
Yeah.
Like the horse put its weight down on one hoof or whatever you want to call it. And I lifted my leg like to walk out of the way just too slowly, and it grazed my foot and left a bruise on the outside of my foot for 2 weeks. It didn't even step on me. It was like it grazed my foot. It was crazy.
And if it doesn't make them scarier, we put metal murder shoes on them to make their kicks hurt more.
That's only because their toes aren't made for hard surfaces and they're silly like that.
Yeah. Metal murder shoes.
I love that.
By the way, aren't the Icelandic horses like one of the biggest breeds on the world? Because Helen just made it sound like she was feeding a pony. This little wizard is so cute.
What the shit?
They're
I like when I think of big horses, I think was like massively tall, that are like taller than
Like the
people. These ones weren't.
Clydesdales.
They were about our height.
so Icelandic horses aren't huge, but they're very graceful and they're very fluffy. So of course, like the horses that that can survive the Icelandic winter are of course much more fluffier than.
I
normal
now
horses.
have to look this up.
Oh, look it up,
So
dude.
fluffy.
Are these
There are
Okay.
some very
Shetlands?
interesting things. Yeah, Shetlands are similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Icelandic horse is like I'm gonna throw around the word renowned. Okay, I'm clearly not gonna throw the word around
World-renowned horses.
They're
yes,
so fluffy.
because apparently they are like slightly smarter than the average horse, which means you can teach them like 8 different walking patterns pretty like easily. Like the Icelandic horse just learns it. Meanwhile, if you have like an American horse or a British horse or a Indian horse or whatever, like like once they're up to 3 or 4 walking patterns, they're just like, you're shitting me. I'm not learning more. Done.
Are you shitting me? You just want me to get you from A to B. What the fuck is this walking bollocks? Yeah, I'm on board with those horses.
Okay, I was wrong. These are not the biggest horses in the world that I was thinking of.
No,
yeah, they're not the biggest, but they're very fluffy. And once they
like mammoth
leave
horses.
Iceland, they're never allowed to return.
yeah.
Why not?
We have laws about cross-contamination, and there are diseases out there that have never been introduced to Iceland. So we've put a law that is literally just like, we don't want your horse diseases in Iceland. You're not allowed to import your horse, and if you export your horse, you're not bringing it back. Not unless like massive quarantine rules, and I think it's like borderline impossible.
So you cannot even take it out for like, I don't know, horse showings or whatever.
No.
No. If the only place you can see
back.
and have Iceland. Yeah, exactly. Like it goes out, it never comes back again.
Yeah.
Like
if you want to have a horse showing, it has to be in Iceland.
We don't have the same rules
but then the other horses cannot come into either.
Nope.
Nope.
We don't have this rule for like almost any other animal species. It's just the horses, and I'm assuming it is like probably there's a horse disease that just fucking ravages Icelandic horses. And we have like zero protection.
Horses are much more expensive than dogs or cats or any other like small animal. So
yeah,
losing a horse to disease is, I mean, like I would never want to lose an animal to any kind of disease anyway, but I'm saying like losing a horse, which costs thousands of dollars, is probably a lot more traumatic than losing.
Yeah, not only the amount
like
of dollars you
hamster.
put in, but also like the amount of effort you put into training it.
Yeah, and the training, because breaking horses is just not easy. It's such a skilled craft, from what I understand.
And it's a craft I do.
All right, enough about horses. Tian.
Oh, let's see. So
her favorite animal is Pegasus.
Mythical creatures talks about horses, regular ass horses, for like 15 minutes.
Okay, so my number one favorite mythical creature, or like whatever you want to call it, is called the Jinkan. It's also another Chinese thing. It's a Southern Chinese thing. Spelt in this case, here you go, Jincan. It's part of what they call the goo poisoning creature. So the Jinkan is also considered like the golden silkworm. So now there's this whole thing called goo practitioner, goo witchery, goo whatever. But goo is a type of poison. Now, this type of poison is usually used for sorcery and dark magic and things like that. So there's 5 types of goo creatures, which is like bees, scorpions, spiders, centipedes, frogs, things like that. And the cool part about the Jinkan is they take like hundreds of these creatures and they put it into like this like urn or jug or whatever. They close it up, seal it, and then they bury it in the ground. After a certain amount of time, they go back and they unearth it, and the single creature that is alive from inside of this is considered the golden silkworm. Now, this particular thing is considered to be like the most poisonous. It's devoured the other creatures, so it has superpower poison and magic and things like that. So with it, the things you can do is you can use it to attract fortune for yourself, but you have to remember to feed it people or you can use it to like lay curses on people and things like that. So it's really cool. A lot of goo witches or goo practitioners are actually banned in China for a long time, and like if they find out your family member, like your aunt, is a goo practitioner, they will annihilate your entire line. As however many people they can find, they will kill for this. This is like how crazy it is back then. But yeah, so you can, one of the things that you can do with it is if your Jinkan is derived for the sole purpose of bringing fortune into your house and you no longer want it anymore, everything that you got from this because of it, all the gold, gems, jewels, things like that, you have to actually give it back to it. And you can leave it out for somewhere else. And anyone who gets attracted to the gold and takes it don't realize that they also now have the Jinkan itself. And if you don't feed it, it will kill you. So there are ways for you to like assassinate people back then by doing this and like not telling the other person like they took the Jinkan as well. So
Could you then also get the gold back?
no.
Okay.
Yeah, no. If you take it, you're taking the essence of it, or you know, the gift from it. So you have to pay it back in that way.
You have to pay.
So yeah, I love goo practitioners, goo magic, all that dark poisonous stuff. I think it's so cool. I find it so fascinating. It's the concept of like traditional Chinese medicine. There's a part of it that says in order to fight poison, you must use poison. So it's that kind of concept of like certain things will counteract each other. So it's just, I don't know, it's just so cool and so fascinating. It's one of the things I love so much. And now Tom is obsessed with it, which is great. But yeah, so the golden silkworm, the Jinkan, is just so cool. Don't play with it. Just admire it from like afar.
I mean, you don't live in China, so you can become goo practitioners. They
Yeah,
can never
but
find your
just-
family.
But yeah, so
Go for it. Be your best self.
but yeah, so like the whole concept is just so cool. Like this just it's obviously not like a silkworm. Like if you throw in a bunch of like centipedes and spiders and stuff, a silkworm's not gonna come out
Yeah,
of it.
you
But
create the worst Hunger Games ever and then come back after some time
yeah.
to find your victorious bug.
And it is like
oh my goodness.
it's so cool. I love it. Anyway. But yeah, I like stuff like
just-
that.
That's just the creation of that just like no, I don't like any of it.
I like how
All
like
these creatures, no.
I like how non-magical the origin is. It's literally just a
Yeah.
pit of bugs. And just do it enough, and you will find the magic bug.
Yes. The magic bug is the one that survives.
Yeah.
But I really
I like
love the
that.
That's like
idea.
some hardy motherfucker.
I like that. Like that would like kind of it would help the kind of idea of mass panic against like magic people when it becomes so simple. Like there is no inherent magic behind finding the what did you call that?
Jinkan?
The Jinkan. Like there is no magic to it. It's a ritual, and anybody can do the ritual. It's like I like that. I always like it when magic or like the thing that people are afraid of is so benignly possible, but it's like completely forbidden.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's probably like ways to do it, and what type of creatures you put into it can make different types of Jinkan or Jinkans that like do different things. So that's really cool. So maybe there's like a book somewhere or whatever. But
A guidebook, but this would be inherently terrifying, at least for me.
oh, but yeah, so
I love it. That's just that is like the fact is so accessible for everyone to possibly do that. And the results are potentially assassin worthy.
yeah.
I love it.
So I think it's really cool. I actually don't know how to kill one. I don't think I ever researched how to like kill a Jinkan. So
Okay, you sound scared. Have you done this? You sound a little worried. Or correction, has
Gary.
done this, and do you need to be worried?
don't
you need
have
to turn on
webcam
your
on.
video camera.
Yeah,
If there's just a
blink.
pile of gold behind you, we know you're on. We're on to you.
Blink twice if you're under the influence of a Jinkan.
tap the mic twice.
Oh God.
But yeah, no. So yeah, my favorite. It's bloody and it's horrible and it's just great. I like playing the villain a lot in most things, and you can see why.
I love how as a horror writer you're just like nope on some of these things, and I love it.
I write horror well because I am easily scared and I can capture that emotion. I'm not kidding. I don't write any of my horror scripts after dark, like at all. If the sun's down, I'm not working on this.
I can understand. Like, some of them are just like genuinely creepy as shit. I'm like, oh boy.
I love horror stories, just not at night.
All right. Speaking of horror stories, and continuing my obsession with death, it's ghosts. It's super normal.
Those are real.
I love ghosts. Neil. So I don't know what it is. I really like ghosts and spirits. I like how they're all just so random. Like, you have like the reoccurring ghosts that like do the same thing over and over. I like the ghosts that are interacted with and you don't know the ghost until afterwards and you see something terrifying. Like, oh shit. I like the ghosts that inhabit people and move shit, although they're kind of more poltergeisty than ghost, but I lump them in the same kind of area. I like the ones that just appear just to shit with you and then disappear again. Like, I just love that whole idea and mythos that some things are so heavy in like our lives that you leave an imprint behind you. And don't get me wrong, I don't really believe in ghosts.
I was gonna say,
I will leave the really part in there because it is fascinating as hell. I love watching the videos where people like ghost caught on camera because I'm like, most of the time I believe they're bullshit. Like, I honestly think they're full of shit. But in other times you're like, oh, that's creepy. I appreciate the creepiness of that.
You're part of the problem. You fall for clickbait on YouTube, don't you?
I do.
you obviously
This particular clip.
you're not liking the Asian ghosts because they kill people. Our ghosts kill people.
I'm also totally on board with that terrifying aspect of
what?
ghosts. Like, I'm totally on board with that. Like, I'm sorry, if you leave something like undone in your life and it's so powerful that you remain behind as a ghost because, you know, the Grim Reaper didn't do their effing job, like, you still have a chance to enact that. And the idea also that it's terrifying that there is a ghost who may be competent enough and conscious enough to like, hey, I'm going to enact my revenge and kill a thing, or I'm just going to kill indiscriminately. They have enough compos mentis to know that. Thus, they must know that they're dead, which is a terrifying aspect in and of itself. And also can see everything around them changing. Like, what's their like outlook on death, life after that be when you go, oh, what the fuck is this phone shit doing in my face? Like, there's just something about ghosts that is terrifying. You can't fight them. You can't do dick about it. It's just everything about them, I think, is just fascinating. And, you know, you speak to most people, some of them probably have some sort of weird ghost paranormal type story, or they know someone who says that they've had one. Like, I work with a guy and he genuinely, like, he's the salt of the earth. This guy is very down to earth, very practical guy. And even he has a ghost story about where we work. I'm like, holy shit. I love it. I love them. I think they're interesting and fun.
The ghost of Fish's past.
Actually, no, it's in the building where I work. He was saying he was doing construction there at the time, and he saw a guy on the other end of the hallway, and he's like, what the fuck is this? Like, what's this random old dude doing here? He followed him like to like where we have our canteen area. He got there and the dude was gone, and he was like, what the fuck is this shit? And he's like, all right, whatever, random happenstance, walked home, whatever. A couple of days later, he sees a newspaper about this guy being dead. And he was like, what the fuck is this? So, like, yeah, super strange. Everyone has strange stories like that. Like,
You watched a
well, I
suicide
know
happen.
people who have stories like that.
I have to tell them our ghost story. And you probably don't
Our ghost
remember
story.
it because it happened
Probably
to
not.
me.
Okay. Then it wasn't. It's not our story.
Oh,
April,
you're
it's
there.
yours.
You're there. You
were the
motherfucker.
ghost?
So it was very late at night, and we're in a new house. We're in between houses in the moment, and all of a sudden I sit up and I go like, "Did you hear that?"
In that
And
voice.
I'm staring at the door and I'm trying to like focus, and I
Yes!
randomly woke up doing this. Now, what I'm leaving out of this is that V was watching spooky ghost videos, and there was this horrible fucking sound coming out of the fucking tablet. So I sat up, and I could hear like this, I said, where are you going, never? And I'm like, did you hear that? The fuck is that? And I'm like in between awake and sleep. I asked, did you hear that? And V's like, what's going on? It's like, I'm clearly talking about your fucking spooky ass video, you fucker. Why did you tell me that? I'm genuinely for like 10, 15 seconds, I'm staring at the goddamn door like, am I about to try to kill something? What the fuck am I hearing? Like, I'm running through possibilities. Like, I don't have a bedside table, so I have nothing to throw. Like, what the fuck am I going to do? What am I going to do?
You throw
I only have my
something
hands.
at
My
an
hands ain't worth much. And then finally, like, the spooky sound that was playing on the thing stopped and was like, yeah, so that was playing on my phone when I picked it up one day. I'm like, what? Then I look over at her, and the fucking tap is going on, and she's like, everything okay? What did you hear? And I'm like, you dense motherfucker. So yeah, that's our ghost story, you fucker.
My old job,
so
when I was working at a spa at an inn in like Massachusetts, and it's haunted for fucking sure. There's this. So in the area, well, like New England is haunted as hell anyway. But so I had to drive by this abandoned horse, like fenced off like area where horses used to just roam around, because behind there was like a horse farm. So between the horse farm and my old job is this just riding corral thingy. So I'm driving past it to go pick up Tom, and it's like midnight. This day, for some odd reason, it was really foggy that day. Okay, cool, whatever. I'm driving. There's a car behind me. There's a truck behind me. Not a big deal. It's just us. So I'm driving, and I pass by like the fence, and I hear knocking on like the car door. Like, not like, I thought, okay, maybe like a branch got caught somewhere and it's tapping. No, it is not tapping. Legit. You know that knock, knock, knock? The intent of the three knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Like, what the fuck? I'm driving. I'm not stopped. I'm not slow enough for this to happen. And then, like an idiot, because somehow this is going to help, I lock the door. Like it's going to help. And then the knocking sounds again. Knock, knock, knock. I am not going to look on the side where this knocking is happening. I'm going to keep driving. And
please say you didn't look at the mirrors.
I did not. Nope.
Yeah, smart move. Don't do that.
I'm going to drive. I'm going to look at the road. It is foggy. I am scared out of my mind. And then I said on the third, knock, knock, knock. No, thank you. You might try the other car. And it stopped.
Whoa. That is terrible.
And I kept driving. I was like, I'm never going on this road again. I will go around and take the highway. I will go the long way. I don't care. Never doing that again. And then I discovered a year later, I'm going to be working at the inn, which is right next to the place where it happened. So I had to drive by it all the time. I was like, fuck.
Fuck this. But you said no once, so maybe it would just leave you alone.
No, right? I was like, no, thank you. You might try the other car instead. I'm very polite, apparently, to ghosts.
Yeah, it's like a very polite way of telling a ghost to go fuck himself.
The ghost was probably like, "Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna try
Sorry,
that."
my bad.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
But
next
locking
one.
the car doors like it was gonna do anything terrified me.
I mean,
that's
it's not
great.
the dumbest thing I've heard about what people do to try to scare off ghosts.
Oh no! Come on, you have to share.
There's like a bunch of forums, of course, where people share ghost stories. And of course, when you hang out on a forum reading ghost stories, you get paranoid. You start seeing and hearing ghosts everywhere. And they have different ways of keeping the ghost away. Like, you need to get yourself a good night light. You need to do this and that. And one guy just comes in like, no. If you ever think there's a ghost somewhere in your house, just masturbate.
What?
The ghost will be too awkward and it will never return. If it was a murderer, he's going to walk out because you're now masturbating. It solves all the problems. So, not the worst version I've heard.
Okay. I am not going to do that while I'm driving, first of all.
Unless you're unlucky and suddenly the ghost comes out with a pottery table.
Oh, you want to recreate that moment? Well, I was going to do the killing, but fuck this. My mum was a firm believer in ghosts. Like she would often tell me like, hey, there's a little girl spirit that's at the bottom of the staircase. And we have the tiniest shitty staircase and like the tiniest little entrance hall. So I could well understand why that place feels creepy. And she always used to tell me that there was this very friendly, very non-threatening, very friendly old man that used to live in our bathroom. My mum told me this quite frequently.
Sucks, Fee.
She was a firm believer in ghosts.
That sucks.
Yeah. Super weird. So I used to not like, especially when I became an older teen. Well, actually, it was before I became a teenager. I just got freaked the fuck out. I just didn't want to do it. My mum was like, "No, you have to go take a shower." I'm like, "You told me there was a fucking." And then when I got older, I'm like, "No, this is all bullshit. I don't believe any of this shit." So yeah, she was an absolute firm believer in mysticism and magic, and she was a firm believer in like ghosts and spirits and stuff. And she told me many, many strange stories. But obviously, I waved them off because I thought they were bollocks. But after she passed, and it was like a day or two later, went to my dad's house. Like obviously, I'm like try to spend as much time as I could with him at that point. And he was like, "All right, you need to come over right now." And this is like 11:30 at night. I'm like, "Dad, what the fuck are you on?" It's like 11:30. Come over right now. And I came over right now, and he was like, "I'm not shitting you, Ham, but I think there is something weird in this house." I'm like, "All right, Dad, what the fuck are you?" And as soon as I start like, "Dad, you're on bollocks," like you heightened emotion and stuff, but genuinely like cupboard doors fell open. I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" I just reached over and closed the cupboard without looking at it. I'm like, "Dad, strange things are going to happen. These are just hinges. This is grief. How about we leave?" And then another cupboard door open. I'm like, "All right, Dad, how about we go to the pub? They will open for us." And yeah, like strange as shit. Like, all right, okay. And then when I brought my dad back a couple of hours later and he was somewhat drunk, as he should be, I just basically, as I was leaving the house, I'm like, "All right, I don't believe in this shit, but can you stop doing this?" And then I left, and he never had it happen again. Strange ghost shit, man. I think the hinges were just on their way out. Like, the house is falling apart.
I hate to throw shade at your story, but I'm just going to have to point out that, like, you called up the pub and had them open for you. So I just like that, like,
Okay.
"Oi, mate, house haunted. Open the pub for me." "Yeah, mate."
Tell me about it.
No. So the woman who owned the pub nearest to us, she and my dad were really good friends. And she, to be fair, was supposed to close at 11:30 every night. But she just locked the door and would have like basically a lock-in between then and like 4 or 5 in the morning, whether she wanted to go to bed. So I knew she'd be open. I just need to let her know, "Hey, Dad's feeling a bit shitty, as you would expect. Can you just open the door for us?" And she did. Like she would do that quite often for us. So I don't have a pub landlord on tap. It's just, at least not anymore. Like it, we were just very good friends with her. So
I was doing some research for one of the scripts that I was writing for, well, ghosts. Obviously, the show is called Nyctophobia. Come on now. So in the story, I'm like, I don't know much about like Western ghosts at all. Asian ghosts is just, they kill you. That's about it. So I'm doing some research about it, and it was like Forbes magazine or whatever had one, and I was like, yeah, one of the things that you can do to help get rid of the ghosts in your house, if you think your house is haunted, if you're looking for a new house or whatever, is like, ask it to leave. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Just ask. But now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I asked that ghost to go check the other car, and it worked. V just went and said, "Can you not do this?" And it stopped. Maybe there's something to this.
I think there might be, like, my mum generally told me about that kind of stuff, like in her strange stories. Like she was just had this strange story about one of her ex-lovers dying, and she was haunted in her dreams, like over and over and over, the same dream, the same dude, the same bed, cough. And she was like, eventually I just, in the dream, just had to say, "Can you stop doing this? I have a husband and like 4 kids. Can you just fuck off?" And it stopped. So I had that in my mind, like those strange stories that she would tell. I was like, all right, I'm going to give it a shot. I think it's bollocks. But then it happened. I'm like, well, I'm gonna lean on coincidence.
Maybe ask
I think it's
nicely
coincidence. I
instead
think
of
it's
be
bollocks.
mean. Yeah, like if you ask nicely, maybe that's what it is. Don't piss it off, because then it just might stay for obstinance.
Yes.
The only thing I want to mention in the ghost story related area is I find Americans' obsession with haunted houses adorable.
We have so many, especially in Connecticut. It's like, okay, so I live in New Hampshire, Massachusetts border, which is like 2-3 states away, depending on where you go. So there's Connecticut houses are so haunted, or there's so many haunted houses there that realtors actually have to disclose that this house is haunted when they sell it to you.
Oh my God.
Adorable.
It's just awful.
Completely serious. Like we have a 3D walkthrough of our house. Oh, so it's haunted.
You can ask, like if you ask, oh, is this house haunted? They have to tell you yes or no.
Wow.
So cute.
Wow.
You're like if we still like acted like all hoity-toity about our elves here in Iceland. Like I have to let you know there are elves in the yard. I just so
We
cute.
don't build little houses for
We
them.
built houses so they should be fine. Like that nothing has happened for like 10 years, so it should be fine. But I have to warn you, we've got elves.
I'm sorry, what?
Don't you know about the Icelandic elf?
No?
No.
So in Iceland, we believe that elves are actually more like little imps and like sprites and fairies. We just call them elves, álfar. And they'd be like little mean like shitsters that would fuck things up and like oh, they'd steal your keys, they'd like fill your shoe with water.
So like
stupid
the
shit
curse,
like that.
the curse imp, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we called them álfar,
Yeah.
elves. And to appease them, to make them stop fucking our houses up, people would build tiny little wooden houses into the hills and rocks and area around their houses where they believed that they originally lived. So by giving them a nicer place to stay, they wouldn't come to our place to fuck up. That's the elf thing, and it sounds about as dumb as having to tell somebody their house is haunted while they're trying to put a $200,000 bid on a house.
The difference is that the Icelandic thing has a tradition. The American one, it just seems like, oh, they want to, I don't know, raise the price or like the value of their thing because it has history.
It's so weird, and it's so cute. Like Americans are like, hey, somebody died in this house once. And it's like,
Guess fucking what? Like every meter in Europe, someone died at some point in history.
Actually, I think in Britain, they actually also have to disclose if there's been, like, because we have to, by law, do, like, property searches on places that you buy. And that includes history, like, legal history. Like, that includes things like, was there a murder done on your property? Like, that's something you learn when you buy a house in Britain.
that's that one too. It's like, this is so irrelevant. I'm not moving in with the previous owner.
No. But you might be, Ethel, and that's where this comes from.
What do you think? We just want to let you know. So, because on the side of the bed you sleep might not be the side of the bed you want to sleep now, because that's when the previous owner slept on the right side. So, you kind of, just so you know.
It changes nothing. Your house isn't haunted. You are a grown woman with a job. Stop it. It doesn't matter which side of the bed you sleep on. You're gonna have a disease or an illness that kills you someday, and it has nothing to do with if somebody were murdered in the place that you live now.
But it might do, Ethel. Okay, we're writing some of this off, these weird experiences as utter bullshit and coincidence. But what if it's not, Ethel? What if we are haunted?
Okay.
I think I see things and hear things somewhat often. So I write it off.
But what if it's not?
No,
We've been like brainwashed by the sciences. What if it's not bullshit, Ethel? We have the right to know.
I don't know how to say this. Like, you guys have had experiences where you couldn't explain or rationalize it away, or if you did, it was like afterwards. Like, oh, it was probably totally all this. I've had a couple of ghost experiences in my life, and I have always been able to track down what the fuck it was, and it was just something dumb. There was a scraping sound outside my house when I was 8 years old and my parents left me alone in the house. I was so scared. I hid myself under the covers in my parents' bedroom for about an hour until I braced myself, and I went and I found the fucking scraping sound. And it was a fucking shovel hanging on a hook outside the house, just scraping against the wall. Oh, I was totally convinced there was a ghost in our basement when I was younger. I could see the outlines downstairs, and I could see him. It was just a fucking raincoat that when you turned the light on and off, it did that weird brain thing where you started to see outlines of faces and shit like that. It's nothing. But
Now,
you guys have had experiences
Aethor.
where... Yes.
Aethor,
Yeah.
when I was young,
Neil, I can see a ghost behind you
impressionable,
on the curtain. There's a ghost behind you on the curtain.
we were playing with the Ouija board,
Oh no.
and my buddy who was spooked called me up and said, "We got to go destroy it." I said, "Okay, bud."
The board?
And I was like, "Okay, yeah, we'll go do it," because at this point I was skeptic, but wasn't. I was like, "Okay, we were playing with the Ouija board, whatever. We'll go destroy it." And so on our drive out, cats have a weird thing with spirits and death and stuff.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And I shit you not, this was real, and I'm not imagining this. Aethor, we drove out into the country a ways. The roads were lined with cats in a weird way. I shit you not. They were at the end of every fucking driveway out in the country where there's cows and shit, and you don't fucking see cats because you're running over frogs and deer. There was a lot of cats, and it made little to no sense because you never see cats out on these country weird roads.
What's mating
In the
season?
middle of the
Calm
night.
down.
There was dozens of cats, and it was just weird. Maybe that was coincidence, Aethor. But when I was young and my buddy got spooked with the Ouija board, because we had been playing with a Ouija board and we went to destroy it, there was lots of cats.
There's so many superstitions.
I can't explain your personal stories. I can only tell you that all my personal stories end with me finally growing a pair of growing my bravery and just going to check it out.
So there's so many superstitions, especially Asian people. I'm going to generalize in this case. Asian people tend to be very superstitious, especially the Chinese and Cambodian, since that's the only cultures I really know about very well.
The Philippines are too.
Philippines, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I wrote about, it's the story is called Whistles in the Dark, and it is based off of the superstition is you do not whistle at night because it brings or draws spirits to you. So that's something that I always grew up with. I've been hit upside the head if I forgot. If there's a chopstick nearby, I would smacked by it. You do not whistle at night. And the other one that sticks with me is if you go to stay at someone's house or hotel or whatever, particularly in Asia, if you're a single person, they'll give you one pillow. It is not because they're stingy with pillows. It's even if you have a queen size bed, you get one pillow unless you ask for another one. The reason is because when you're lying down and you're on one side of the bed and you leave the other side open with a pillow, it is an invitation. It counts as an invitation for a spirit to lie down with you.
That explains why when I went to China and had a queen size bed, there was one pillow.
Unless you ask for another one. That is the reason why. So, we take our ghost superstitions very seriously. Just, but you want to count about especially the culturally, particularly Chinese, is the civilization has been over 5,000 years old. As far as civilization is considered or concerned, there's a lot of death. There's a lot of jihos everywhere. So to say something like that, but yeah, which is just really funny.
Honestly, this is why ghosts are my number one. They get people talking about the most random experiences, and just the whole idea is just mind blowing. I like I'm part of like the STEM world, science, tech, and all that good shit. Engineering. I should know that because I'm an engineer. Like I'm very much behind the science of the world, but there's still a little part of me. No matter how much I think most of this is bullshit, there's still a little bit of me is like, maybe. There's a 1%, 2%, maybe 5%, and there's like
Yeah, but that
maybe.
makes it
Sorry,
fun,
that's
though.
not
I
obvious.
feel like that makes
I
it
know.
more exciting. I am terrified,
It's
but
the
yes.
unknown. Yes, I'm allowed to be terrified of this.
So as we're
Like,
talking about this, it's
100%.
like 5:49 where I am, PM where I am, and like as we're talking about ghosts, I have to keep constantly glancing to make sure it's still light out. That's how bad this is.
Yeah, well, we have talked long enough. I don't think we need to add honorable mentions unless someone really wants to shout something.
Medusa.
I love
Moon rabbits.
Medusa. Spirit beasts.
Griffins.
Doppelgangers.
Oh, that's a good
That
one.
one's-
Yeah.
I'm also going to add in werewolf or werewolf type creatures.
Harpies
I
and
love
lamias.
Oh, yes.
Aw,
vampires.
They're cute.
Nah,
I love
vampires are
Lamia.
boring.
Vampires.
Werewolves more than vampires, though.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. All right. Well, that's us for this episode. Thank you all so much for listening.
thank you,
We
Tian, for
really
being
appreciate
here.
it.
Thank you so
yes,
much.
and thank you, Tian, so much. I'm so glad that you said yes to this ridiculous idea. I hope you had fun.
Thank you for inviting me. I actually really did have a lot of fun, even though it was a lot of last minute, like, oh shit, what is the information on the ones that I like?
Yeah, I think
That's always
it
how we
might
do
be
it here.
all of us that
Yeah.
was just like, shit, that is exactly how Four Top Truth works.
There's just so many
It's hard for me to
to.
pick favorite things.
So,
I like a lot of things.
well, it is. And there's this one, it's called a feifei in Chinese, and it's this fox-like snowy creature. And I only bring this up because a lot of people might need this nowadays, and I wish everybody had one. There's this like fox-like snowy creature and snowy white creature, and when you rear it, it dispels depression.
Aww.
Oh,
See?
oh, yeah, everyone needs one
So
of those
feifei,
right now, I think.
F-E-I, F-E-I. But yeah, I want one.
All right. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you to Tian so much for coming and joining and adding more light into our lives. I guess that's probably it. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
That's how we do the
Bye.
Thanks for having me.
This one was
All right.
scarier than I thought it was going to be.
Hi everyone, it's V here. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I want to do a huge shout out and thank you to Tian for putting up with our bullshit and coming on, being on our show. They're amazing. Please go check out their show, Nectophobia. Tian is a writer and Tian is an actress, and they're incredible and amazing. You may also have noticed that we well, I asked Neil to beep out Tia's partner's name, but because it's a dead name, but Neil decided to Gary instead. So that's what we have, and Tian and Tia's partner were absolutely fine with that. So that's why you may occasionally hear Gary, but you're gonna hear an ad for Nectophobia. Please go listen to it. I'm in it. Tian's obviously in it. And it's incredible. Tian is a fantastic horror writer and an amazing human, as you just heard. So please go support their show. Go listen to all that. Shilling for ourselves, I guess, go check out our social media accounts. They are run by an amazing person and a really good friend of mine, Lena. Every amazing post that you've seen from us is all Lena. Go check it out. Hopefully Lena will put up Lena's little portrait. I did a little one for them as well. And they're amazing. You can find us on Twitter and on Facebook by going /4top3s. You have to spell out the numbers. It's not the shortcuts. So the whole word. I'm sorry, guys. So yeah, I think that's basically it. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll hang out with you next month. Bye. This has been a Blighthouse Studio production. Thank you for listening.
Nyctophobia, a new fiction podcast featuring Asian folk horrors and ghost stories. As Eastern superstitions and Western storytelling converge, new nightmares emerge.
Can you tell me what room you are in?
I'm in the basement.
Ma'am, please repeat that.
Oh no. Oh my god, I'm in the basement.
Ma'am?
Oh, no, please don't leave me in the dark, please.
Jeremiah?
It's here.
Find
Ma'am.
Keep whistling. 1, 2, 3. Hush, my baby, don't be scared. None of it always be like
Remember, keep the lights on.